Lena could barely remember the last time she had been to her grandmother's cottage, but the one memory that stuck with her was the silence, the kind that felt too heavy, too unnatural. Now, as she approached the isolated house in the fading light of dusk, that same silence greeted her like an old, unwelcome friend. But this time it was different. This time it felt like the silence was watching her. From the moment Lena stepped out of her car, she felt an inexplicable chill in the air. The wind was still, the birds quiet, and the lake, which she could just glimpse through the trees, seemed to shimmer with a dark, unsettling energy. As she stood there, staring at the lake, a sudden feeling of dread washed over her, and for a brief moment, she thought she saw something move in the water, something dark, something not quite human. Shaking off the eerie sensation, Lena forced herself to focus on the reason she had come to visit her grandmother, who had been asking for her with an unusual sense of urgency. But as she made her way toward the old cottage, that sense of dread only deepened, and a disturbing thought crept into her mind. Whatever was waiting for her inside was just the beginning of something far more terrifying. Lena is greeted warmly by her grandmother, a frail yet sharp-minded woman who seems oddly insistent that Lena stay close to the house and avoid the lake at all costs. She brushes off her grandmother's warnings as mere superstition, believing them to be rooted in local folklore and old wives' tales. That night, Lena is plagued by a series of disturbing nightmares. In her dreams, she sees a young woman struggling in the water, her desperate cries for help echoing across the silent lake. The woman's face is pale, her eyes wide with terror, and just as Lena reaches out to save her, she wakes up in a cold sweat. The next day, Lena tries to shake off the lingering unease from her dreams. She explores the area, her curiosity drawing her closer to the lake, despite her grandmother's warnings. The water is dark and foreboding, its surface strangely still. As she stares into the depths, she catches a glimpse of something moving beneath the surface, a shadowy figure that quickly vanishes, leaving behind only ripples. That evening, her grandmother tells her the tragic tale of the lake. Decades ago, a young woman from the nearby village drowned there under mysterious circumstances. Some say she was pulled under by a vengeful spirit, a man who had died in the lake years before and was now seeking revenge on any who dared approach. The story sends a chill down Lena's spine, but she tries to dismiss it as just another ghost story. However, her nightmares persist, growing more vivid and terrifying each night. She begins to see the drowned woman not only in her dreams but also in waking visions. The woman's ghostly figure appears at the foot of Lena's bed, dripping with water, her eyes pleading for help. Lena is haunted by the woman's cries and the feeling of cold, wet hands grasping at her whenever she nears the lake. Driven by a mix of fear and curiosity, Lena delves deeper into the history of the lake. She discovers old newspaper clippings hidden in the attic that detail the deaths of several people in the lake, including the man her grandmother had mentioned. The articles suggest that the man was wronged, betrayed by someone he loved, and drowned in a fit of rage. His spirit, it seems, has been restless ever since, taking out his anger on the innocent. As the days pass, Lena's mental state deteriorates. The nightmares blur the line between dream and reality, and the visions grow more intense. She hears whispers in the wind, sees shadowy figures in the corners of her vision, and feels an ever-present sense of being watched. Her grandmother, noticing Lena's distress, urges her to leave, but Lena is determined to uncover the truth and put the spirit to rest. In a climactic moment, Lena returns to the lake at night, the moon casting an eerie glow over the water. She feels an overwhelming presence, and the air grows cold as the wind howls through the trees. The lake begins to churn violently, and the vengeful spirit emerges, a dark and twisted figure with eyes full of hatred. Lena confronts the spirit, her voice trembling but resolute. She apologizes on behalf of the wrongs done to him, speaking words of peace and reconciliation. The spirit hesitates, as if struggling with its own rage and sorrow. Lena offers a token, a piece of jewelry she found among her grandmother's things, which belonged to the woman who had wronged him. She throws it into the lake, watching as it sinks beneath the waves. For a moment, everything is still. Then, slowly, the spirit begins to fade, its anger seemingly quelled by Lena's act of contrition. The lake grows calm, the water smooth as glass. Lena feels a sense of relief, the oppressive weight lifting from her chest. Exhausted and shaken, Lena returns to the cottage. Her grandmother embraces her, relieved to see her safe. The nightmares cease, and Lena finally sleeps peacefully. In the final moments of the story, Lena prepares to leave the next day. As she gazes at the lake one last time, she sees the figure of the young woman from her nightmares standing on the shore. But this time the woman is smiling, her expression one of gratitude and peace. Lena nods in acknowledgement, knowing that the restless spirits have finally found their peace. As Lena drives away from the cottage, the camera lingers on the lake, now serene and still, with only the faintest ripple disturbing its surface. The haunting whispers are gone, leaving behind only the quiet of the forest. But as the screen fades to black, the sound of a single splash echoes, leaving the audience with a lingering sense of unease and the possibility that the lake's dark secret may never truly be at rest. If you enjoyed this terrifying tale, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling stories. Stay safe and keep exploring, but always watch your back.